All right, we're live. FPL live. I'm back, guys. My mic is working. Everything is good. I'm joined by the Chief and FPL Stag. Guys, how are you?
Hey, it's great to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Are we live? Everything look good?
We are indeed all is good this time. No
Okay,
gremlins, no
nice.
problems.
Luke, what were you doing last week? How was your holiday to the Bahamas?
It was great. It wasn't much of a holiday. It was more of me sweating in my room trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this microphone. But
Luke
I think we're
frantically
good now, right?
typing the message boards, just like trying to respond to all the comments
Oh,
instead.
man.
It's a beautiful picture.
Uh,
Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We're sponsored here by Classic Shirts. So what we want you to do is to send us in a compelling stat. We want you to tweet us with hashtag FPL Live and link all of us in. So that's, you see our names down the bottom: FPL Hints, FPL Stag, FPL Fun Chat, and give us a compelling stat that's relevant to game week 10. And with that in mind, then, the best one, by our choice, will win a prize from Classic Shirts. It's a voucher for £25. So that's pretty cool.
Hold on, Chief. How are you typing as FPL Live and I'm typing as well?
Yeah, well,
Keep
it's.
finding
I
on
think
it.
it's.
We're both
I think-
logged in at the same time.
Wow.
That's pretty
and
nifty.
A lot
And
of
then
people.
I'm me for what it's worth. See, there you go. I'm just posting as me. No imposters here. Right, I'm gonna go and just get some questions going straight away, and
Let's
I'm gonna
do
start
it.
with my
Let's
own
rock.
personal question because I'm just so selfish and all. And I've already made a -4, guys. I made it on Monday night. I broke all of my rules and made a transfer early, and it's now starting to bite me. So there you go, guys. Don't make your transfers early. I got rid of Capu and Antonio, who later played for West Ham as like a striker during the week against Chelsea in the League Cup. So I got rid of Antonio, got rid of Capu, brought in Darun as like
God.
4.3 fodder, and then I brought in Dele Alli as well because it's Leicester who are playing away from home. They've conceded 13 goals in their 4 games away from home, and they are also playing before a Champions League game. And when Leicester have had a Premier League match before a Champions League match, they've played much worse as well. So with all that in mind, I brought in Dele Alli. But now I'm going, oh no Theo Walcott. Now what do I do? And I'm looking at maybe getting Mane in. And now that -4 is potentially becoming a -12.
Yeah, the threat of minus points is looming.
Yeah, exactly. Ouch is right. Yeah. Ouch.
Initially my thought is I love getting Antonio out, and I love getting Capu out because I think both of them were too hyped. And then, so who did you bring in for them? Walcott? Was Walcott one of them?
No. Had Walcott. No. Dele Alli.
Oh, yeah. I like Dele Alli as well.
Bench fodder Darun from Middlesbrough, who's 4.3 million.
I think those moves are all good. It's just the early move
It's
kind of
just-
bite you in the butt a little
Yeah,
bit.
it is now just okay, yeah, what do I do? Do I get in another guy? But that's my only issue. Would you guys have any kind of question or like any thoughts on that straight away?
What do you
Yes.
think, Chief?
Well, it's funny because I'm in a situation where I haven't made my transfers. I might make another live transfer tonight. I have Capu and I have Antonio in my squad, and it's likely I'm gonna start both of them because Walcott is apparently injured, and with Antonio, he actually started as a striker. Correct me if I'm mistaken. During midweek, and there's talk of him potentially starting as a striker this weekend as well. So
Yeah,
I
I heard
can't-
that.
I can't sell him just yet. I'm happy to keep him for one more game. As for Capu, I think he's finished, but they're playing Hull, and there's a really awesome stat that the Sergeant tweeted out earlier today that Hull have conceded 2.44 goals per game this season. So I'm happy. I'm happy to take my chances on him one final time. Why
Yeah.
not?
And with that stat, it's kind of worth pointing out as well. That's worse than, was it the Fulham team who had the previous worst over a whole season
That's
Didn't he put that in
correct.
it too? Yeah. Now, I'm going to also point out that if you were to do goals conceded per game, I did this myself earlier. If you were to do, 13 divided by 4 for Leicester's away record, it's even worse. It's 3 point something or another. So,
Ooh.
maybe it's a Tottenham player that you want
Oof.
with that all in mind. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
just
so,
to,
so that makes the Dele Alli move even better in your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've made it with that in mind, in fairness to me. But
And
yeah.
the best thing I think about having Ali is he appears to be the only nailed on midfielder so far. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen Eriksson, Lamella, and Son all get rotated. But
And
Ali
Dembele
has
too,
been there.
yeah.
Yeah, yep. And Ali has been there this entire time. So
So many of them. Yeah, and Dele Alli is that one man. He is the denominator between everything in that midfield.
yeah,
And he, as well, like recently, if you just see the amount of shots he's actually getting and in dangerous positions, he just looks like such a good transfer to me. Now, I could be, screaming tomorrow on Twitter with how terrible it was, but, for now, I think it was a good idea.
yeah. I think it works out well. All right, let me transition into a new topic of discussion. I got a tweet from
Sure.
Scout FPL Manager at at 9_false, and he says,
What a
"What is
name.
your Walcott plan?"
Yeah, I thought that was a really good name, and his picture was cool too, actually. I saw that big question.
So
Yeah.
no, I like his picture.
Yeah,
What's your
that's
Walcott
good.
plan, guys? I know I have him in my team, and I'm sweating a little bit.
Well,
Chief, you take the stage on this one.
sure. So, yeah, it was really sad to hear that Walcott might be injured, albeit on a short-term basis. I'm not going to sell him just yet, purely because Arsenal have a good run of upcoming games. I'm going to start Walcott in my team in the event that he starts, but I believe he won't start. So sub one Antonio, and Walcott starts. If Walcott doesn't start, Antonio comes in. My advice would be: don't captain him, don't buy him, don't sell him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, you go on, Luke.
No, it's just I think that if he were fit and ready to play, he would play this week, and so I don't see wasting a transfer this week on him when he's been in great form, and I see him coming right back into the side after he deals with whatever's been injuring him.
And for me, I've kind of just, obviously, it's kind of that thing that I led the show with there, that my issue, like, do I get rid of him or do I not? Because I'm talking about taking a hit the minute I get rid of him. So for me, it's that little bit harder to justify, and I'm still weighing up the options. And maybe I will come to a conclusion as we kind of discuss the merits of people as we go on here.
Yeah, we'll figure that out for you.
I just want to come back on the Walcott question before we move on. So I mentioned that he's got a good run of upcoming games, but someone's mentioned actually those games are difficult. From the games that I can see, from game week 10 to game week 15, he's playing Sunderland away, and then he's got Spurs at home, which is London derby, anything can happen. Manchester United away, but we know how they're like. But after that, you've got Bournemouth at home, West Ham away, Stoke at home. From those games that I've mentioned, I think as a whole, they are good fixtures. Is it worth having Sanchez and Walcott in your team? I think that's another question that we can touch upon later in the show.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that, Spurs and United are not, I wouldn't classify them as good fixtures, but they're not bad, and especially when it's a derby, anything can happen, like you said. And they've got 3 great games after that, so I think the upside of keeping Walcott is better than potentially losing him for this week.
Stat coming in from James Parcher. Lukaku has a 100% record in his last 9 games versus West Ham, also picking up 3 assists. # essential captain.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do we think on that?
It's hard to pass it. I mean, if he's going to score every game he plays in.
On my team right now, yeah.
What do you think?
That is a really good stat. In my little mini leaderboard, that's really taken pole position. In fact, my initial favourite stat was the whole 2.441, but I think I've got a new leader here.
That's James Parcher, by the way. We might as well credit the man.
Did he tag you on Twitter?
He did. He tagged all of us, actually.
Okay.
All he was missing was the hashtag FPL Live, guys.
He created a Twitter account just for this show, so extra good on him as well.
So, yeah, there you go. You have
What
to
a
beat James
legend.
Parcher, guys. Show the dedication.
Another question, please.
Another question. We have a load of them from earlier. So someone was asking about Smith from Bournemouth or Stones? Which one to play?
Let me take a look at their fixtures because I have Adam Smith.
Well, I think he's talking about in the immediate sense. I don't think he's talking about transferring.
Well, I don't even know who Bournemouth play this week.
Okay,
so.
okay. Bournemouth are away to
Middlesbrough.
Hull, and sorry, Middlesbrough. Yeah, I read Middlesbrough as Hull.
No,
I
it's
don't know
okay.
how I did that.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's
I think
somewhat
it's a 50,
forgivable.
I think it's a 50-50 in the sense that Bournemouth have kept clean sheets at home. They're not as good on the road. Then again, Middlesbrough haven't been that great home or away. And with Manchester City, that hashtag that my friend Mr. Fly
I
has
don't want to
kept,
hear it. Don't say it. Stop.
Have Man City conceded yet?
Zlatan is stat coming in from Lebo1_180. That's John. Zlatan has gone 5 league games without scoring for the first time since September 2010. So yeah, he has extended. Obviously, that
Stag,
one more game is
we
extended.
weren't done,
The
man.
world-
Stat.
We weren't done
We
with
which?
Adam Smith, John Stones.
Oh, we haven't.
No,
No,
I think it's an easy decision. I think you bring in Adam Smith this week. I think Middlesbrough's looked like one of the worst teams in the league as of late, and Man City, our defensive record is not great. We haven't kept a clean sheet all year, and Stones I don't think is nailed on as well. Pep tries to go 3 back. He sometimes goes 2 back, and so if we decide to go 2 center backs, I see potentially Stones playing this week, but not long term. So I just think he's too much of a rotation risk. And Bournemouth just kept a clean sheet against Tottenham as well, which is one of the best attacking teams in the league. So for me, it's easy Adam Smith all the way.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'm ready for your stat now.
And my stat, but stats are
Yes.
never meant to come when everyone wants a stat. A stat is some sort of like just interjection that just comes out of nowhere. It was about Zlatan. If you want me to read it again, I'll underscore
Yes.
Lebo_180, whose name is now John on Twitter. Zlatan has gone 5 league games without scoring for the first time since September 2010, and yet
The world
still
is a
I see
different
people.
place.
Yeah, and yet still I see people arguing that you should bring in Zlatan because they're playing away, or sorry, they're hosting Burnley. Burnley are kind of good, guys.
Yeah, at home they're good.
No. Burnley are going to Old Trafford.
Yeah,
That's right.
Well, oh yeah.
Just to
And-
straighten that bit out.
And I don't want to call that match a derby, but in terms of their proximity, it's all like a derby, so there's extra element in play there. From my perspective, I've got Rashford in my team. I don't know why I've kept him for as long as I have. He actually did quite well during the week, so I'm willing to take my chances on him and last chance saloon for him. I hope that he starts and that the quote-unquote injury he had wasn't too bad against City, and I would go as far as to say that I feel he is more of a goal threat than Ibra at present. How about that?
It's a good question. I don't like Zlatan just because of the price. I think when you can look at Diego Costa for around the 10 mil mark, Lukaku at around 9 million, I think it's just too much money spent for a forward that hasn't been scoring and hasn't really shown any signs of scoring. I ditched Zlatan a while ago, and I think people who are holding on to him are just kind of clinging to any sort of hope that they can, but I think it's a lost cause at this point.
And I think I'm pretty much going to mirror everything you've just said. So instead of repeating ourselves, what I'm going to ask instead is who is everyone going to captain this week? So there's a lot of people screaming about Sanchez, they're screaming about Aguero, and then there's just some people just asking the question in general. I've seen some captaincy polls going around. I've seen Troy Deeney because they're playing Burnley pretty
I
high
like
up
that
the list. It's pretty much the last chance saloon for Watford. I was kind of writing it in my own article this week. This is the end of that great streak of fixtures that Watford guys have. Like, I think that Holebas is going to start going out of a lot of teams too. I've got the team value now out of him, and he's going to be leaving my team soon.
Yeah.
So I guess Deeney there as a captaincy pick. Otherwise, you're kind of looking. I don't know who you're also looking at in terms of
Lukaku.
Yeah.
Lukaku, as we mentioned, and then maybe someone, if you're going a bit mad, you might think Stoke in the Monday Night Football kickoff or whatever. And then there's the Spurs argument that I made with Dele Alli. So who are you going to captain?
Well, I haven't chosen my captain yet, but I really want to give some context here on our old friend Sergio Aguero. Now, let's look back to last season. Before his 5 goals against Newcastle United, he wasn't scoring goals left, right, and centre. In fact, his form was not that great as it is right now. Could this be the game week where he runs riot and scores 3 or more? That's the danger with not captaining him, and that's also the danger for those that have ended up selling him. Truth be told, I don't know who to captain. I may not even captain Aguero. He may not even be a vice captain, but there's something about him. I think he's going to shock us and surprise us in equal measure.
Yeah. I see 3 captaincy options this week. I see Lukaku at home to West Ham. I see Alexis Sanchez away to Sunderland and Aguero. What's West Brom's home stadium? Is it called the Hawthorns? Is that what it is?
Yep.
My
Yes.
American knowledge is superior.
It's called the Hawthorns Rose Bowl. And I'm sorry,
You
I've got
butchered
off-
it.
You butchered that.
Yeah,
Good
I
work.
was trying to make a mockery of American stadiums, but
You
That's what you
started
get.
it wrong. You started with Hawthorns. You forgot to start it with a brand name. So
Yeah,
that's true.
that's true. I've been flipping on my captain this week a lot. I currently have it on Sanchez, just because I think Sunderland has looked like the worst team in the league, and by far the worst team. And last game, I watched the entire game, and Sanchez could have scored 2 goals easily. He seems to be on free kicks, and he seems confident in taking them. I see him starting up top as a striker unless somehow Olivier Giroud come back in. So for me, it's on Sanchez, but it's really a toss-up for me between the 3. Take your pick. I mean, Aguero does have that potential to score multiple goals. Yeah, I think
so
it's
with
really...
with that multiple goals thing, I'm gonna just grab that and run with it on you and just be rude and interrupt you.
Okay,
So
go
that
ahead.
Chief kind of alluded to it with Aguero. He has that power to shock us. Last year, game week 8, the week where he scored 5, that came after he'd gone 5 games in the league without scoring. They were against Everton, Watford, Palace, West Ham, and Spurs. So if he can do it, and he only had 66 minutes in that game, and he scored 5. 60. Like, you
Yeah,
just
it's
can't.
possible.
You just can't write him off. You really can't.
No.
And I think, if anything, Pep wants to get the best out of him, going by the quotes he said during the week. All this stuff about Pep just trying to isolate him and get rid of him and all this. No, I'm not too pushed on that now.
City can't rest on their laurels. They really need to win. So I can't really see that match ending as a goalless match. There will be goals. Man City, favourites to win, and it should surely be the occasion where KDB and Aguero link up again and have a frenzy. Who knows? And on that note, can I move on to another question, if that's okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
What you'll get first is a stat.
Oh,
If that's
give me
okay.
the stat first. Yeah,
So,
hit.
Slick Trader 6, that's both his name on Twitter and his actual handle. Hashtag FPL Live is included in this one for the bonus points, but he didn't actually link Luke in it. So
Wow. Slick
Anyway.
trader, man. Come on.
he has.
No, it's all
So
good.
to quote him himself, not a game week stat, so he can't win. But Mourinho has lost 21, drawn 12, and won just 7 of his last 40 games.
Wow, that is a
That's
stat.
incredible. That's incredible. Like, it's not a game week stat, so he has announced himself that he's not in the running to win this. But to be honest, I put him in the
I would
running.
put it
to
in
win
there,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. To be honest,
know,
I'm giving it to him.
We all make fun of Tony Pulis for setting up shop, but Mourinho, I don't think it's fair to really give Tony Pulis all that slack when it just seems like he sets up every game to not lose instead of go out there and win.
Like Tony Pulis is like the type of person who when people talk about parking the bus. That's what Mourinho does. Tony Pulis kind of
Yeah.
parks a small high ace van or something.
I'll tell you what, right, if Tony Pulis at Stoke had Didier Drogba and let's say a Lampard, they'd be winning matches 1-0 and parking the bus, and they would be doing a Leicester before it was cool to do so. And the truth is that that's something that Mourinho has specialised in throughout his years. So I guess that's part and parcel of him. It's just the fact that he's Mourinho and Pulis is Pulis.
Yeah, it's the case of one manager getting preferential treatment over the other. I fear. I don't think it's very fair. And, being a City fan, I love to give Mourinho some shit anytime I can. So,
So much
guys,
for your great plan to never curse on the video, Luke.
I know it slipped out. Hey, Chief, how's your tally going for?
Oh yeah, Chief has a very, very, very secret tally. Well,
Yeah.
not that secret anymore.
Yeah.
But
Do you want to tell us about it, or are we keeping that secret?
I'm gonna keep it quite a mystery right now.
Okay, all right.
What I will
you're on
say,
4, by the way, I think.
I'm on 4. Okay, I have a little competition I'm running with. Well, no, it's not a competition. It's a tally that I'm keeping account of on this show. I can't
Right.
tell what it is, but for every time I do it, I'm paying £1 towards charity. So that's all I'll say. It's for my benefit, and it's for the benefit of others. I can't comment any further.
Okay.
There's no wordplay involved. It's just a simple task I've set myself. And on that note, I'm going to come to Phil Powell on Twitter. What are your thoughts on Alan, Paya out, or Shaqiri and Sterling? Was that 2 questions in one there,
Yeah,
guys?
that was a lot there. That was a lot.
Yeah, that's a loaded question.
Okay,
there.
so let's take the first one. So the first one was Joe Allen ?
So with Joe Allen, So what are our thoughts on Joe Allen? My view is that he has shown some form of late. He's not going to score every week. The other question is, should they sell Payet for Shaqiri or Sterling?
Oh boy. Okay, first one, Joe Allen plays farther.
Sorry, guys. I've got to reread this question. What they're saying is, should they sell Allen and Payet for Shaqiri and Sterling? Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they put the comma in the wrong place, so that threw me off slightly.
That makes
So yeah,
it more interesting. So
Yes.
I don't love Joe Allen as a pick, but I don't hate him either. He does play more of an advanced role at Stoke, and he has been involved in goals. His shot-to-goal ratio has been a little unsustainable, so I don't expect him to keep scoring. But I've actually got James Parter on the chat of the YouTube stream. He says, look at Payet's stats from last season against the top 4 sides. He got from game week 12 onwards. He returned in over 50% of his games. And I've actually had a look at Payet's stats, and they're off the charts. For only, I think he's at 9.5 now. He looks like an incredible investment for FPL. So weighing whether Shaqiri and Sterling is equal, it's a tough call, but I don't think you can ditch Payet right now. So
Good
whatever,
news.
Go ahead, yeah.
Paya is only 9.4.
Wow.
Wow.
What a bargain.
And for what it's worth, Hazard is only 9.8 and he scored 2 goals in his last 2 games. Like, if you were thinking of setting Paya, the only reason I would see it as acceptable is if you wanted to bring in Mane or Hazard. I just can't get behind it for anyone else.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah, I think Payet is very close to a must-have at this point.
Oh, Luke, guess what?
What?
You've got an apology from Slick Trader 6 who said sorry for missing you out.
Oh, did I? What a guy.
What a guy.
It's okay, Slick
6.
Trader. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
there's a sun appearing from behind a cloud in his avatar, and I think that's how your relationship is right now.
That's good. Oh, man.
Are there any questions in the chats that you guys have seen?
Yeah, let's give a
Yes.
look.
I've
Go
got-
ahead, Chief.
So I'm just scrolling up into the chat, and there is a question that has been asked from earlier on. Pasta or egg? Hold on, that's the old one.
I've had that
Hold
one at
on,
least
it's
5
Max
times.
Walters again asking the same question.
Right, yeah, let's ignore that. Here's one. Let me bring it up. Early kickoff is putting Kian McKenna off. Should that put you off? Is that just all? Is that just a myth, or should we, put food for thought there when it comes to the early kickoff and picking players in those matches, or even captains?
Stag,
Is
go
this
ahead.
Kian McKenna Is this Kian McKenna we're looking at here?
Yeah, yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry,
Is that
pardon my
That's an Irish name. Okay,
Yes,
sorry, I'll bail us out
my,
there with that one.
mispronunciation there.
Yeah, Keane for future reference, guys. Anyway,
And Kian is a 3-week supporter so far. He's been here all 3 weeks.
yeah,
so,
exactly. So
yeah.
yeah, thank you for your custom, Keane. Anyway, the question was about kickoff times and stuff. To be honest, I don't think it's really actually a real thing. I think for most of us, we just want to have our captain in play for the longest, so we can all tweet out and go, "Oh, I've got 52 points so far, but I've got my captain left." And I think that's what most of it is it's some sort of like, hubris influence thing. However, that said, I can't get it out of my own head when I think about how I'd be if I was playing at 12:30 versus 3 o'clock. And the guys, it's much harder to eat a big high carb dinner early in the morning and be ready for a 12:30 kickoff compared to 3 o'clock. No, like that's actually not. I'm actually being serious.
No, I know.
And then there was also a thing as well. Like there's a reason why swimming takes part at night at the Olympics, and that's because they can perform better. They perform better at night. Yeah, that's actually a thing.
Wow.
So that always makes me think the Monday Night Football thing isn't totally elusive. Now, at least swimming, is chasing a clock. It's not like, this random thing with 22 men chasing a ball around and kicking it, at weird angles off their feet to try and trick other people and put it into a net. Like, it's not quite the same thing, I know. But there has to be something in it too. Like, there is a science to it, but just none of us have really locked it down yet.
That's interesting. I think that kickoff time is a load of poop, to be politically correct and not use a swear word. I give absolutely zero consideration into the time that the player is playing, and I don't let it affect my captaincy either. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. But
Okay, I've got a confession to make. For a very long time, I paid strong interest in when to pick my captain, and I would often pick a Monday Night Football captain, and I often saw good results for that time of the night, because my psychology was, they've had plenty of rest, it's evening, they're more energized than they would be on a Saturday morning stroke afternoon. Truth is, Aguero, he scored goals Saturday lunchtime, he scored goals Saturday 3 p.m. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. You can score regardless. It might make a difference if your player has played during the week, let's say in an international match, and is jet lagged, and he's got a Saturday lunchtime kickoff match. Fair enough, but truth be told, it shouldn't really make a difference. Having said all that, I can't remember the last time I had a Saturday lunchtime kickoff captain. So that's it for me.
Nice. Guys, I have a question from James Parter again. It's pretty interesting, actually. He says, when will commentators stop saying Stones is one for the future when he persistently makes critical mistakes every other week? So what do you guys think? I know Stones he's had a hit and miss kind of start to his season. That's the way I'd categorize it. Coming from a City fan's perspective, I think he's looked brilliant on the ball. He looks like a complete leader in attack. And with Pep's system building out of the back, I think he's exactly what we're looking for. Defensive-wise, we've seen mistakes from him this year, no doubt about it. And a lot of mistakes have led to goals, unfortunately. So what do you guys think? Is Stones kind of still too young to really be judging, or should we be getting on his back for his mistakes this season?
Will I take it on first, or do you want to take it on, Chief? I'll take that hesitation as a...
Chief's muted his mic right now.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Alright, cool. So for me, I think that if you're viewing Stones in the football sense and not the FPL sense, yeah, he's definitely one for the future. He's, all of that. He's still a young fella at the end of the day. He's made it to Man City already. He's good on the ball. He makes a few mistakes, but that's more teachable and more of a rectifiable problem than something like not being able to, play a football very well. Like you're not going to convert a non-ball playing defender into a ball playing defender when they've reached, the development stage that Premier League players have. Yeah. But when you've got someone at John Stones' age already able to play the ball, you'll fix the rest of it. So in a football sense, yes, one for the future. But in an FPL sense, I don't know. I don't really think so, to be honest. Like, he hasn't really shown much sign of being a clinical finisher or anything like it, nor a crosser. He's not like he's shown no sign of being a a potential John Terry-esque header of the ball and all this sort of stuff. And then in terms of just the potential stuff in general, and commentators just constantly referring to the same thing all over again, I think we've been hearing the same thing about Theo Walcott since he was 17. He is now 27, I think. So, it's just how it is.
Yeah, what's your take,
Just,
Chief?
I mean, just to wrap up on that, look, he's a young lad, hefty price tag when he moved to City. He's still adapting to the kind of football that they play, and it's still too early to say. He might be a future England captain. He might be a future Premier League winner. I think both of those might be true. It's just a case of him building on what he already has. There's no doubt he's got the talent, but it's just translating that into clean sheets and obviously long-term success. And on that note, I want to come to a question that I've seen in the chat. So just give me one moment, please. Just going up here. I saw a really good question earlier on.
I'm just waiting to see whose name you butcher next, lol.
And we've got to ask questions from people other than Mr. Parter. We've asked so many questions of it.
Mr. Parter is basically a member of the show at this point.
Yeah. Let me just... Oh, I can't find the questions here. I just had them. There we go. Question. Oh, no, that's the James Parter question.
All right.
Yeah.
Chief, I've got one for you.
I'm gonna interject first with a stat to try and rectify that.
Oh, you're going to read
situation
the
there.
stat I was going to read.
Stat then question.
Hey, I'm the stat reader around
Okay,
here. It's
go ahead.
Lebo_180, whose actual name is John, who's back again. And he has said that Deeney has scored in each of his last 3 appearances for Watford against Hull.
Wow.
There you go.
Deeney and
Building-
Lukaku really entered the mix now.
Yeah, there you go. So just to make things a little bit easier
Yeah, and
for
I
you.
actually used to own Deeney probably, was it last week or I think it was 2 weeks ago. And he was good for 1 goal in my team and 1 goal only, and now he is out of my team. And as good of his record is and as bad as Hull is, his chances have been limited. And, I'm very happy with Charlie Austin in my team. I think he's looked great. And budget forwards, I think he's probably the pick of the litter. What do you guys think?
As a one-off pick for this week against Hull at home, he surely is worth something.
He is worth something. He might put him in the category of don't sell him this week and don't buy him this week.
Precisely what I was thinking.
Would you
That's exactly
captain
what was in
him?
my head.
But would you captain him? That's what Jason Yorath is saying on the chat, and I've had people mention it on the timeline that they will captain him. The truth is there isn't really a standout captain pick for this week, and it is the kind of week where you could probably get away with captaining him, and if he did fail, well, you've got your other players there. Is it one risk?
You're still probably going to get 25% of people captaining Aguero, though, and then another 20% of dead teams captaining Ibra and potentially overtaking you if he does actually score. You always have to keep that in mind, that there's just that percentage of teams that never really change.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
There's a guy on Twitter, I believe his account is Tweet FPL, and I love the way he's been playing this season. Every single game week, he's had a green arrow, he's taken hits, he's playing it, the fun of it. He isn't playing, like a template, and he's like in the top 1K. Perhaps we're almost
You
more.
almost skimmed over the most amazing part of that. I counted up those hits that he's taken because he's been pretty liberal with them. He's done 56 points worth of hits.
56.
Ooh.
Yeah, I counted it up the other day when I was looking at it. I was trying to justify, this potential -12 I'll be taking.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Someone's actually asking, Robert Harmer is wondering, what are our overall ranks right now?
Oh, good question.
I'm ranked about 700k. I'll happily admit that. I had a really bad game week when I benched Francis, 9 points. I bought him the week before live on the show, so I've been punished. How about you guys?
Snag,
You
what
go,
got?
Luke. Oh, okay, but I was going to let you go first because
Okay,
there's method to my madness.
Okay, my
Oh,
rank is I'm ranked at 90k right now. I started off the season really well. I think my first game week was 36K. So I hit it off at the beginning, and I've been kind of fluctuating right around there. So haven't really picked up a ton of ground there, but I'm happy with my team, and I think I'm going to be in for Green Arrows pretty soon.
So currently, I'm kind of where Luke's started. I've kind of had to climb back up a little bit. So I'm at 37,023rd place right now out of the 4 and a bit million people that are playing. So pretty happy with that.
Nice.
It's higher than I got in all of last season, because last season was just a train wreck from start to finish.
That was a decent hell in many respects. And on that note, I'd like to ask a question. That's in the chat. That's from Mustafa. Question: do you think doubling up with players from the same position, from the same team, is worth doing, i.e. Coutinho, Firmino, Sanchez and Walcott? I'll pose that to Luke first of all.
Yeah, that was a good question. I was actually going to bring that up if you guys didn't get it. So great question, Mustafa. I currently have Alexis Sanchez and Theo Walcott, as well as Coutinho and Firmino in my team. So that's my midfield right there, and I feel good about it. If Walcott was starting this week, I'd feel even better about it. But the way I see it is, I never look at it from a sharing points kind of perspective. If players are getting points and they're getting shots on target or whatever you need to do to score, I don't think that sharing points and being on the same team should really come into it. So I think that if you're going to double up on a player, I'd say go for it. Tripling up might be a problem just because you might run into fixture troubles. But yeah, for the case of like Firmino and Coutinho, I would say go for it.
Yeah, no more than Luke. I think that when you're doubling up someone like Firmino and Coutinho, that's grand. They're only complementing each other. They're not taking away from each other. I think it starts to get a little bit more risky when you're talking about doubling up on defense, because defense. I said defense like I'm an American. Defense. When you double up on defense, because
Getting
then you're
American
starting. I know Luke's already getting to me, but what you have to so I think then you're starting to get a little bit too risky. Like there were a lot of people with double Man United defenders at the start of the season, let's say, because they got a good few in their first few games, clean sheets wise, and now it's going to drop back. And then they had a headache in number one of trying to get rid of them, and number two for the few weeks that they had both of them, and they had nice big 1 and 2 points or something from, let's say, De Gea. I know he's a different position, but he's basically the same thing. Yeah. De Gea and let's say Valencia, where they were both getting like 1 point, 2 points, whatever it was. For me, that's a little bit too much. Now, there have been stages like last season. I think I had 2 Southampton defenders at one point, and it only benefited me. But still, it's hard to actually get that right. You're talking about big risk, big reward. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think that looking at it, the defensive side, I wouldn't double in defense, especially because clean sheets have been so unpredictable. But I think with attackers, you're given a little more freedom to kind of pick who you want.
Like last season, just remember Hurricane Ali, as we called it. Every single week the hashtag would appear, because every single week Ali assisted Hurricane, or Kane never really assisted, did he? I can't even remember.
No, Kane just scored every single goal last season.
Kane just scored 20 goals. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, you can't complain about Kane doing that either. So from that point of view, yeah, doubling up is fine, but at the right time. And I guess that's like everything, isn't it, with FPL? That's the great conundrum we have every week. Chief?
I think it depends on what the situation is. The team must be in hot form, and those 2 players must be showing their capability in getting those fantasy returns. They need a good run of upcoming games. I don't often do it, but I have done it this season. Walcott, is now injured temporarily. The only time I can remember it working to great effect for me, well, 2 occasions, notably, were with Bale and Van der Vaart. That was a few years ago, and also Suarez and Sturridge. Would I do it with defender and goalkeeper? I did it with Stoke a few years back, but it just depends. Like I've said, form for both of those players, good run of upcoming games, and you've got to get your captaincy right. Shall we take another question?
Sure. I'm gonna go. Okay.
You want to do one more question, and then we'll get on, kind of close it up, talk about our teams, and then wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do a quick. I'm gonna do some quick fire questions. Okay. And I don't. No, like actually building on your answers, just yes or no's, because there's a few of them have come in. First of all, when Kane is fit, does he come straight back into your team? That's coming from Robert Harmer.
No.
Yeah, it's
Because
a no from me too.
Kane has a history when he's lost fitness. Well, he's had an injury. He has to gain that fitness and show his form. He doesn't seem to instantaneously get it. Next question.
Q-Boy coming in. Guys, can we rely on Stoke's defence this game week?
Who do they play this week?
Possibly.
They are playing
Swansea.
at home to Swansea on
Home
Monday
to
night.
Swansea. That's a toss-up. Stoke kept a clean
I've
sheet
got a
last
feeling-
week, but
Yeah. Well, they kept a clean sheet the week before as well.
yeah.
I think they've got the capability of keeping a clean sheet this week as well. But I feel that Swansea, with their new American manager, they've got this momentum. And they may not win, but I think it might be a 1-1 or 2-1. So don't buy a Stoke player for the sake of, well, a Stoke defender for the sake of one game week. As a long-term option, definitely worth considering.
Yeah, like for me, you're looking at Cameron and Peters are both starters in that defence at 4.4. However, Cameron, who is playing currently in a kind of out of position, like defensive midfielder kind of role, kind of anchorman kind of style thing. Not the movie, obviously. Cameron's playing there. He's injured this week though, so suddenly they've lost that core that was kind of standing in front, and without that, I can't see them keeping a clean sheet against the Swansea team, who've actually been pretty creative and pretty dangerous. They just haven't kind of converted just yet.
If you actually look at Gylfi Sigurdsson's stats, they're comparable to Alexis Sanchez in terms of creativity and shots on
Siggy is
target.
definitely coming back, and I think if he played well against Stoke, I think I wouldn't mind having him for being home to Man United in game week 11.
We'll
wouldn't
have
mind
to
it.
look at how Walcott progresses, but if he ends up needing to come out of my sides, I see no better replacement than Gylfi.
Yeah, 3.5% owned, 7.2 at the moment. His price has dropped from 0.3 since the start of the season. He has, after this, so Stoke away this week, then Man City at home, or Man United at home, Everton away, and Palace at home. Like their fixtures, actually, Swansea's fixtures is probably worth noting. From the 10th of December, game week 15, they're just outrageously good for 5 game weeks.
Stiggy is Stardust. He is fixture-proof, provided that his team has form. And yeah, game weeks 15 to 19, you've got to somehow shoehorn him into your team. And he's got that record of scoring against United as well. I wouldn't buy him just yet, but he's on my radar.
What do you think buying him in game week 12 against Everton? Do you think that's too soon?
Everton are odd. They've been solid defensively, but they still concede. If that makes sense. Like they've only kept 2 clean sheets this season, I believe, off the top of my head, and yet still they aren't particularly good. They're not. Sorry, I'm repeating myself now. They're not good at getting that shutout, but they've been pretty good at not being absolutely hammered either.
Yeah,
I know what you're trying to say.
I think I'm just actually looking at their stats right now. The worst they've done is, did they lose to Burnley last weekend? No, they did. Yeah, they did lose to Burnley last weekend. That was the first time they conceded 2 goals in a game.
Wow. Guys, just before we touch on our teams, let's try and shoehorn in one more question. And we also need to finalize what we believe is the most compelling stat that has been tweeted out to us or has come onto our chat. So, any other questions that we've missed out on, should we go straight to our teams?
No, I think we should hop right in.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions. Yep, no questions. So, yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Chief. What are your kind of transfers this week, and what are you thinking about your captain?
So all of my transfers, plans, they've really been ripped to shreds now.
Currently on 9, by the way.
I'm on 9. Oh dear. Well, that's me worrying. So I will make sure I don't hit 10 before the end of this show. I'm going to start Rashford. I'm going to start Walcott, albeit Antonio will probably sub in for him. I'm seriously considering not making any transfers at all. However, if I can just justify something after this show, I probably may just do it. So my captain right now is Lukaku, vice captain is Aguero. I'm kind of stuck. I'm overthinking it, but that's FPL.
Nice. I'll go second. So I actually broke one of my rules, and that was to not make early transfers. And I actually made a transfer right after the Liverpool game last week because Coutinho scored and he was set to rise that night. And I had just enough cash to change Raheem Sterling into Coutinho, so I did it. And luckily, no one got injured this week, except for Walcott. And I don't think I would have brought him out anyway. So I think I made a good move. Liverpool still have brilliant fixtures. I feel really good having Firmino and Coutinho in my midfield. And so this week I'm gonna captain Alexis Sanchez. I have my vice on Lukaku, and anything can change until the deadline, and I'm not set on any of them. So it's really gonna come down to what I'm feeling, getting close to the kickoff.
So yeah, I'm at risk of overlapping myself a bit here. So currently I have Lukaku captained. Ali is vice captain. I might switch that around. I'm really behind this Dele Alli thing. I think I'll regret if I don't go for him, and he did well. Actually, no, I know I'd regret it then, of course. But then there's that Lukaku record that we only read out earlier. So that's hard. In terms of the transfers I made, I brought in Darun and I brought in Dele Alli, as I said earlier, and I got rid of Capu and I got rid of Antonio. Slightly regretting it now because Walcott is there with his little orange in there, what do you call it? Orange status? Is that the right
Yeah,
the right
orange flag.
noun for it? Yeah, the orange anyway. Ben Dinnery has ruled him out, so he might as well be on a different planet. He's definitely not playing if Ben says so. So I'm potentially going to go for a -8 or a -12 now, and I don't like that thought. I'm currently on a -4. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm still very much in a state of flux. So yeah, stay tuned to my Twitter on that side of things.
Right. Well, on that note, gents, we've had plenty of stats come in through our timeline. What have you guys decided on? Who is our winner for tonight?
Okay, so I guess I'll say I think my favorite stat tonight was from John at Lebo_180. The stat that Dini scored in each of his last 3 appearances for Watford against Hull. I think it's pretty relevant to this week, considering Dini's a captain option. What do you guys think?
I like the Lukaku stat because I've got Lukaku as my captain, and that stat may have validated my captaincy pick. So I'm going for Lukaku one. Stag?
You just reached 10.
Okay.
Congratulations.
I didn't want to do that, but you're going to be the tiebreaker here.
I'm going to be the tiebreaker, and I'm not going with either of you, to be honest. I'm going for that Mourinho one, the Slick Trader 6 one.
Wow.
That Mourinho's lost 21, drawn 12, and just won 7 in his last 40. I think that's a brilliant stat.
Okay, well, what do we do?
What do we do?
We need to pick a winner here.
So Slick Trader in his stat said not a game week stat, so can't win.
That's true.
But I think that just shows the humility of the man.
Wow.
But I think best bet is okay. People in the chat who are there right now, I have a timer out right now. You have 30 seconds to say which one of them you prefer. So just say Dini, Dini, Mourinho, or Lukaku. Go.
Lukaku, go. We're timing you. Go.
FPL Stags is best from Jack.
Okay, so that's a 1 for Mourinho, 2 for Mourinho,
2-0.
3
for Mourinho.
Oh no, Jack's
Wow.
message.
4. I think I have 5.
We've got some groupthink going on. Oh,
Lukaku, yes.
oh, here come the Dinies.
6-2.
Come on, Lukaku's. Just I don't care if you like my stat. Just please say Lukaku in the chat.
Time's up.
All right. So it's going to be the Mourinho stat. So Slick
Mourinho
Trader
stat, yeah.
at Slick Trader 6, you are our winner of the
Congratulations. So
Classic Shirt
contact Chief and to get your prize sorted out. Yeah, there you go.
I'll let Chief
And
do
yet
that bit.
the non-stat has won it. How about that?
There you go, lads. Democracy wins. That's what really won here today.
Only in America.
So yeah, every week get your stats into Twitter using the hashtag FPL Live, and we're going to be giving away as many prizes as we can from Classic Shirts. They're a pretty great sponsor.
Yeah, and we have to give a shout out to our lovely sponsors there at Classic Shirts. That's Classic Football Shirts. They've got a fantastic array of stock in their shop. In fact, they've got 100,000 100,000 shirts available. Give them a check. We won't have a prize available from them every week, but when we do, please, do take part. It's good fun at the end of the day. and everyone's a winner. Well, not everyone's a winner, but everyone can be a winner. I've got to be careful what I say.
You fluffed it again, Chief.
Fun
Well
fact.
done.
Fun fact: 100,000 shirts is enough for 274 almost years.
Oh.
There you go. I haven't taken leap years into account there. Sorry, guys.
Nice.
My maths algorithms aren't fantastic, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I've actually been on the Classic Shirts website before they started sponsoring us, and yeah, it's a great site. They've got a ton of stuff.
Can I just add an extra caveat there? That if you do go on the website, if you do buy stock, go to the checkout, put the code in FPLH10, you'll get 10% off as well. How about that?
So
Nice.
that's extra good for, of course, our winner who had the best stat, and that was Slick Trader 6.
FPLH10 as the code, 10% off.
Brilliant,
So there we
guys.
have it.
Nice. I also want to quickly shout out our graphic designer who designed all of the graphics that we used tonight. His name is Morris. Well, actually, his name is not Morris, but he goes
His
by
son's name is
he
Morris.
goes by @Morris_FC on Twitter. So give him a follow. He's always active for FPL chat, and he's a really nice guy. So yeah, what do you guys say? Have we hit everything?
I
tonight?
say one thing. I say bonus question: Lloris or Bravo tomorrow?
Maurice.
Bravo.
Like, number one, what have you done investing that much money in your goalkeepers?
Yeah, wow, that is a lot. That is a lot of dosh for your goalkeepers.
Hey,
And then-
I have Hugo Lloris too.
I have Lloris. He's playing Leicester at home. I've said everything I need to say about Leicester when they're playing away at the moment before Champions League games.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
It's
That's
it's probably for fear of Solomon Rondon and James McLean destroying Bravo single-handedly.
And Nasser
I'm
Chadley.
saying- and Nasser Chadley, of course, yeah, triple-handedly. I'll just go with Lloris. Yeah, because of course Vardy and Mahrez and co are not half as good as McLean by himself even.
Wow.
Yeah, no, please don't take that one seriously.
Well, on that bombshell, I think we're going to call it quits for tonight. Thank you very much for all those that have listened in. Thank you to my co-panelists, Mr. @FPL Stag and Mr. @FPL Thunshot. Follow us on Twitter and have a good FPL Game Week 10. Thank you.
Best of luck, everybody. Hope your hours are green.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.